everybody. It looks like we have another episode of TheFookeries this morning. Hey, so the way things are going is that, so I'm sorry, all the lawnmower people are out right now, so it might be kind of loud. But we're still doing Strait of Hormuz. We're still 50% tariffs on Canada. We're still Epstein files waiting for something to happen, people to get arrested, something. But yeah, man, the world's going through some turmoil, and me here at TheFookeries, man, that is some crazy stuff we got people going through. And as I always say, it's these people putting on their capes for the billionaires and the millionaires and the people in the big corporations in the fancy suits who have all these funny parties and maybe do certain bad things to kids. But yeah, we're living in the world that caters to them. And a big trend and maybe a theme I've seen is some nepotism, people just inheriting positions, such as the recent Lindsey Graham sister basically getting pushed into his former spot by his party mates. So there's stuff like that going on. The president's son-in-law, daughter, they're getting some special treatment in Albania because they want to build their, maybe their doomsday bunker over there or their getaway plan in case things don't work out here. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on, and not just that. The two sons, the big boys, they are involved in, I guess, like getting military defense contracts, and I guess they get first dibs because of the president's kids. And I'm sorry, I just took a whiff of some roadkill out here. Oh man, people, watch out for these small animals on the road. They stink when you gotta walk by. But anyways, yeah, so the nepotism, they're giving all the good deals to their friends, such as with the reflecting pool. He gave the contract to some acquaintance who maybe, paid a certain amount so he can have the contract, or did some kind of favor. So the grifter in chief is grifting and doing it on the American dime. U.S. soldiers, various military personnel, various military equipment and vehicles, are being destroyed, injured, killed, etc. Billions of dollars being spent on the daily. I'm sure there's things they're not telling us. Bodies they're not saying have been put to rest or just not even found. I'm sure they're going to give us the flattering version of the story that makes them seem like they're doing a good job. Because that is the other thing they do, is try to push a narrative that is false. Plain and simple. These agendas that they have are just to tell people things are going great. It's going fine. Meanwhile, the whole house is on fire. And everybody's dying of smoke inhalation, but they're telling you to keep calm and ride it out. It's going to be difficult at first, and then you'll reap the benefits later. And I think that's the bullshit. It reminds me of the old trickle-down economics. Let's control the policies, and you guys will eventually reap the benefits. Where have we heard that one before? So yeah, short-term pain for long-term gain, bullshit. And some of us bought that hook, line, and sinker, didn't we? Well, not we, but some of the people out there, you guys fell for it. Not fell for it, you were happy with it as long as it wasn't affecting you, as long as the shitstorm didn't hit your front door, didn't affect your bottom line, didn't affect how much your health care and your groceries and your everything else costs, your living. So it was fine. It was fine when they were just going to go chase some immigrants, because you probably don't like brown, black people, whatever, Asian, Muslim, any of the various other people you can find not to like, and find a reason to blame them. So yeah, they totally took advantage of those points of interest some people would vote for, and a lot of people seem to have voted with their hate and not their head. So they got this whole fucking shitstorm instead. Yeah, the cost of ground beef is the same as the minimum wage in some places. The minimum wage is still not really going up, although I've heard there is some, some work here and there. Some states are being proactive and trying to improve the lives of their citizens, which are the blue states. The worst states to live in the United States are the red states. Florida, I'm seeing mass exoduses, and also people just being upset because they have these home values. They thought maybe they would be selling houses and becoming millionaires, and nobody was really able to live here. You might be able to buy a $1 million house or a $2 million house, but you got to have some form of steady employment, stable investments, and maybe even some family or friends or business assets to help you take care of yourself. Working a regular job out here in the Sunshine State is not for the weak. I can tell you, as a person who now I commute about 2 to 3 miles to work and back a day. So the fact that I don't have a car right now is great, because I'm not paying the extra gas money you guys are paying right now because of this, this idiot war we're having to make a distraction from the Epstein files. You guys' gas is ridiculous. The housing costs are ridiculous. The food costs are ridiculous. All the food is getting us sick, as you guys have been seeing. We have the diarrhea pandemic going on right now, and it leads me to say there's so many times we've gotten sick in the last 10 to 15 years because of deregulation and the things that are meant so that businesses can save money, but then it's going to cost people their lives or their health, or if it's a day of work or a week of work they miss or something because they got to shit their brains out. That's not cool. I would be up in arms. If somebody else did, and they did it not on my behalf, but on the behalf of businesses and basically the upper class, so that they could live better, and then all of a sudden all of us are having the runs at work. That's not cool. If I was businesses, I'd be like, yo, you know what, this week let's just have an example. Let's say this week all the employees at the one Walmart had diarrhea, and they all had to spend an average of 30 to 45 minutes in the bathroom this week because of the diarrhea. How much money did that cost Walmart across the board per store? So yeah, the fact that they were trying to be cheap and have things deregulated and support those policies is actually gonna hit them too in the pockets, because now you're gonna have some of these employees are sick. And that's just not the one store, that's many places, many different businesses, many different institutions. So, the capability of leadership to keep things running smooth and not just shake up the whole establishment that we have for no good reason is a question I ask. I'm like, how far is too far? How far does he have to go to the common sense factor of it? The business educated factor of it. The only upside is that they are making money. Him and his goons, his menagerie of whoever, they're making money, manipulating the markets, manipulating the cost of fuel and energy, and it's basically giving us really horrible conditions around the world. And not to mention, You know, they're doing things to make countries like Cuba, Iran, Lebanon, all these places got to suffer. People in Venezuela are still trying to recover from this earthquake after the United States stole their oil and their president. And you know, I probably say it all the time, but there's gonna be a karma for this. It just doesn't. The universe be balancing itself out. Like, I think the universe itself is self-regulatory, and by self-regulatory, I mean we can do whatever we want, but there's certain things that's just gonna happen. You know, the lifespan of a sun is gonna exist. It's gonna die. You know, the earth is gonna spin until it runs out of whatever makes it spin, which I think is the fossil fuel that comes from the earth is what makes the molten lava core keep hot, and that keeps the earth spinning and gravity functioning and all these things. I don't know, but if somebody out there watching the this particular episode of TheFookeries, I think we're at episode 15 now. Yeah, but if you know what exactly fossil fuel serves the purpose for, or what keeps the earth's molten lava core, you know, hot or whatever, you know, let's put that in the comments. I would like to know, or maybe I'll just go check it out myself. But anyway, I would say that's neither here nor there, but we are on the earth, so yeah. And that's another good point I'd like to bring up, is that people act like we live on different planets. We don't live on different planets. We live on the same fucking small planet. Same ocean we share, same fish, same birds, same sky. There's no countries. You know, there's some people who maybe don't eat pork and some people who do. But this imaginary borders, this nationality and all this shit that separates us, culture, religion, all that shit, it needs to end. It's the thing that is dividing us the most, and people, they're holding on to it, I think, because of tradition and the memories they share concerning it, but we don't need those things if we want to live. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. We might have to fucking go underground. Man, I think I brought this up last time, but it's getting very hot. I don't know if that's just like, it's the summer, it's hot. No, I've been walking for years. It's days where it's hot and I expect it to be hot. And then there's this other kind of heat. I don't know if it's like a dry, toxic heat. Maybe it's got something to do with the Saharan dust or whatever it is. But it's the kind of heat that makes you feel like, well, damn, you know, like, why am I out here walking? But, you know, that's enough about that. If you are walking, make sure you stay hydrated. And then, so anyway, yeah. When it comes to leadership, we have people making decisions to enrich themselves, people making decisions to keep their families rich, I guess. And listen, that's not bad if you want to keep your people taken care of, but then you're going to create this world where it's like you're a king living amongst all these peasants. And I'm like, you know what that means, right? There's going to be sickness and like crime and poverty and filth, and they'll get to live in some, you know, privileged life, maybe behind a gated wall city or something. And I'm like, they want all the resources for themselves, they want all the finest things for themselves, and out of just being sadistic and mean or whatever, they don't want other people to have things like that. They'll probably let you make it. You know, the type of shit where, like, they'll let you work at the restaurant, but they won't let you eat there. You know, they'll let you come in, but you gotta go through the back door. They want that world again. They really want that world. If you listen to the Stephen Millers of the world, and the Steve Bannons, and the Peter Thiels, and the Elon Musk, and all these people, they want the world where they can be special, because they realize they're not special. They just happen to have lived in a world where many of the indigenous people weren't warlike people. They were nice people. And one particular warlike group of people felt entitled to everything everybody else had. If you look at history, this is what happens. And some can say every culture did it, and I can say one culture, one set of demographic of people, they did it the most. Okay, and with their belief systems, they've also been held accountable for the most human lives lost. So it's getting rid of these systems to help people get past the small nonsense, you know, whether it's culture, religion, nationality, etc., etc. You know, if somebody is from Zimbabwe and you're from Philly or something like that, well, the only thing that should matter between us, with the exception of your opinions and stuff, is your... Sorry about that. Yeah, the only thing that should matter about that is you guys drink the same water, you eat, you know, you need the same air to breathe, you know, you need the same medical stuff, you could probably do the same kind of blood transfusion. You know, the same things that affect them affect you in real life, not the superficial, you know, just the bullshit. Somebody using a different bathroom shouldn't be an issue. Now, if somebody's a creep, that's a whole different story. That's a no-go in all things. But who people like and love, want to marry, whatever, that shouldn't be nobody's business. But yeah, like, we're living in a world where they're trying to silence these people for wanting to exist. And they feel like, hey, you have the audacity that you want to live like this. You don't want to, what the word I've been hearing is assimilate. And I'm like, assimilate? Coming here and working a job and taking part in the national slavery is not fucking assimilating? So anyways, let me pause real quick and catch my breath. Okay, so I'm back. And as I segue out of this, you know, like I was talking about, people are having nepotism, they're getting entitlements to government contracts and taxpayer money. And I'm not talking about a little bit of money, I'm talking about a lot of taxpayer money, like the billions. And we can't let, you know, an unqualified general or leader of the military eat crab legs and drink Hennessy on my money, my tax dollars. That's like ridiculous. So I don't know, like, I don't know where people got to stand up and be like, hey, you can't be doing this with our money, dog. If you're not going to help us get rich, what's the point? Like, if my president is supposed to be spending $1 billion a day on oil or gas or war, whatever the fuck it is, every American needs to be collecting some dividends. It shouldn't be you're using our resources to invest, steal from the treasury, and then further invest in your own businesses and your own friends' businesses. Get rich, get them rich, while the average person is not collecting a cent off of that. I don't care what 401ks look like. Some people don't have a 401k. We're not the generation of people who was like, oh, we need to have Social Security, we need this and that. No, we are the generation of people that already worked for it. It was supposed to be there. And now you have these people robbing the treasury talking about, we don't have money for Social Security, we don't have money for food stamps, we don't have money for health care, but we have money for $1 to $2 billion a day in war with no plan, no end game in sight, no results besides, you know, the occasional lies that they've destroyed the whole Navy, they've destroyed the whole Army, they've destroyed the whole Coast Guard, they stopped several freaking what are those things that come out of the ocean, those giant anime monsters. Anyway, they haven't stopped the Godzillas and the King Kongs of Iran yet. I don't know if those exist. But what they are definitely doing and accomplishing is a Christian nation, America claims to be, is going to an Islamic nation, which is actually one of the oldest nations on the planet, continuously. They're going in over there, and Hegseth said before, he's like, he wants to continue the Crusades. He wants to be the new Crusades, so that Israel and America can take over these lands. And I'm like, this is some crazy shit he's talking. I'm like, nobody ever went while they were campaigning, but hey, we're gonna try to take over another country. We're gonna kidnap Venezuela's president. We're gonna steal oil tankers. All right, we're going to tell you we're going to release the Epstein files and never release them. We're going to pick up for one another. And this is where I'm trying to come back to everything. They're going with their agenda, whether we can vote against it, whether we can make legislation against it. I think like the original time when the war started, they had no permission to go to war from Congress. So from jump, you've already violated the Constitution. You've already violated the taxpayers and the voters, because we elected people and gave them powers to keep that ass in check. And you didn't even allow them to keep anybody in check. So it was like, I just saw a crazy driver. I'm sorry. So it was like, what can I say? Like, because it's something serious, you know. It's like you're laying down, you're about to do some things with someone, and they just without you asking, without you giving consent, they now are inside of you, or you are inside of them. You've started something that it's either going to finish, but it's still going to have the consequence. And now you want everybody to help with the stupid mess that you started. We didn't have a mess in the first place, but you want everybody to start paying attention and helping out with the mess that you started. And I said, this is the most privileged, rich, bitch-ass thing someone can do. You can tell his whole life people have been cleaning up his messes, and at this point in his life, somebody's probably wiping his ass, because a lot of them are kissing it, grown-ass men and women. But you can tell people who don't have to work for it, because they're con men and thieves. They don't feel no remorse because they're narcissists, they're sociopaths, etc. This is the kind of governance we have, and it's coming from the same kind of people. The same kind of people that don't want accountability for their actions, the same kind of people that may have gotten away with a couple of rapes in their life. The same kind of people where a good lawyer and living in the right town, they got off with some crime. I'm talking about people, and I guess this is in my culture, we call it, people just pick up for one another. Like, you see something happen to somebody and they don't look like you, but everybody else look like you. It might be a good chance they'll say, hey, yo, you'll go along with whatever the fuck they're saying without even knowing it. And this happens so much in this country that this is how, Emmett Till got lynched and murdered or whatever, or beat to death or whatever it was. This is how, when you see in certain countries, a woman gets raped, but it's by, a popular person, they'll be like, oh, no, he didn't do it. It couldn't have been him. She just wants to get the money. Where they don't believe people are a victim because they hold favor for someone else. Or maybe it's a respected figure or a famous person or whatever. And this is what's going on in the country. It's like all these people are letting stuff slide that's really horrible because it's somebody who is influential, wields power, and also he represents something that these people might or might not be. So let's say, for instance, there's a good percentage of the population that are, they are racist, they are, a certain demographic, a certain religion, they adhere to a certain political ideology, such as, making somewhere good again, or, whatever, maybe saying yes we can or cannot, whatever. But people will pick up for whoever their person is, They'll defend whoever their person is, right or wrong. And this is what we're living in right now, in a world where somebody wasn't held accountable, and they are continuing to use that same energy as they go forward in all their activities. And this all goes back, I tell everybody, all goes back to the insurrection on January 6th, when I think any good leadership would have taken this man, locked him up, tried him over and over and over and over again for all his different crimes, seized his assets, shut down his businesses. It shouldn't have been, no, you got to go back to the resort. But anybody else would have been locked up. Anybody else would have probably been shot that day. And the sad part is, good people got shot, killed, whatever. People that supported either side of it got shot, killed, trampled, whatever. The same law enforcement they say they like to support and back the blue and whatnot, they were ready to go off on their ass the minute they had a difference of opinion or a difference of protocol or in defense of the law and the Constitution. So all those things go out the window when it's time to defend their favorite person. I look at it like this, like it's a relationship my mother and my brother have, and maybe all mothers and all sons, like your mother is gonna defend you, I would hope, tooth and nail, whether you did it or did not do it. She is gonna try to be the one asking for leniency, asking for some other evidence or whatever, just trying to keep you out of the trouble. And these people have started treating this man like he's their child or their messiah or something, and it's causing the world to have a lot of bad consequences. So I mean, it's upsetting because it's ruining the kind of politics we could have, like functioning government, things that are benefiting the individual citizens, things that are benefiting businesses as well. I'm not saying I'm anti-business, I'm anti, people getting rich. You can get rich, but how rich do you need to be? Like, I don't know how long it takes to make $1 billion, but I also don't know how long it takes to spend it. And I'm sure you could spend $1 billion quick if you had to, but how many houses are you going to live in? How many places are you going to be at once? I'm like, I think after, $1 billion, you should be all right. I think we could have enough $1 billion that everybody could get $1 billion, or at least $1 million, But they don't want that. They want to purposely have you in this world where everybody could be living in a house right now. Everybody could just be living. And we have enough stuff. Not to say that people wouldn't have to work, but you wouldn't need things. And maybe that's that. I hear them saying a lot of this communism shit lately, but capitalism fucking failed. If this is how we're living, and the ocean is like running out of fish and full of plastic, and your penis has microplastic in it, and there's forever chemicals all over the fucking place, and the FDA's fucking up, and the EPA's fucking up, the environment's bad, all your kids got autism and cancer and asthma and all this shit. Capitalism pretty much fucking failed. I mean, some people are making some money because they're fucking con men, the grifters, those people who do the probability, what do you call it? Like those betting markets or whatever they have, those apps where they like bet on, like, hey, is it gonna rain today? Like, those kind of people, they're gonna make money. Con men are always gonna find a way to con people. And even like these things, I think they got the kids, the Trump accounts for the kids born in whatever year, and that's just a slush fund for rich people. That's just money they can dip in and out of for 18 years at a time or whatever, for X amount of kids. And all the idiots, they got it for their kids. But I feel that's going to end up turning into a class action lawsuit later on, where you find out he grifted a lot of people. It's the man's business motto is to screw you over and then try to take you to court so many times that you can't win in court, so you just give up. It's not the world we want to live in. We have to fight to take people like that out. And as I was saying before, there's too much people putting on capes for these rich people. You got to let them. They already won capitalism. Sorry. Yeah, they already won capitalism. Let everybody else play now. And I feel somebody said that before. We're like, if you've already made enough money, send these people somewhere else. Send them to a small country. Let them see how great they are at running shit. Don't let them screw up the country that we all put in to have. That's every single person in the country. And the majority of us are, poor folks. We're middle class, we're in the middle somewhere, we're lower class, whatever, struggling. However, we're not supposed to be working extra hard for them to live extra large. So anyways, that's pretty much what I had to get off my chest recently, because I've been seeing a lot of, like I said, I was seeing a lot of talk about the Islamic takeover, freaking communism. They're mad at Mamdani. There's the local elections going around right now. Even in my neighborhood, they're doing some stuff where, like, the mayor is taking away the signs for the other people running against her, and they're like switching them out every other day. The two different people voting, running against each other. So, yeah, man. This country is becoming more and more blatantly corrupt, blatantly abrasive. And by abrasive, I mean a lot of the fucking racists they're loud and proud these days. Except for those dudes who be dressing up in the fucking mask and running around the fucking city. That happened. I think you guys saw for the 250th anniversary America thing. You had the fucking Nazis run around Washington, D.C. And me, if I was president, I wouldn't let nobody goddamn do that. Not to dishonor the legacy of all the people who fought fucking fascism and shit like that. And that's another thing too, they're trying to demonize the word being anti-fascism. And so many of our, greatest heroes in this country, the greatest generation, that was it. We were anti-fascism. America became great because we were Antifa. That's the fucking problem, right? We were all anti-fascism, so we all put in and we all worked together, and that's how the country became great. It didn't become great because, a bunch of racists got together and started fucking dressing up in white and hanging black people. It never became great at that. Alright? One of the greatest things about America is the perseverance of the people America persecutes. Whether it's the Native Americans or the African Americans, the Latin Americans, who else? And even some of the European Americans that came over. Everybody that has been persecuted, they develop a tough shell. And it's at the end of the day, it's the same set of people, essentially, who persecute all of us. They come up with the reason that we're the enemy, where we don't. I was saying before, we don't assimilate. We don't want to become Christians and follow whatever the hell bullshit y'all follow. We don't want to watch football every fucking Sunday. We don't want to celebrate the apple dropping for New Year's. It's just. It's like rape. It's like, oh yeah, you're gonna live in my house, so you're gonna have to let me fuck you a couple times a month, okay? That's how it is in this country. That's what assimilation is, to me. All right, it doesn't have to be that, but I think speaking the language, that's fine. When in Rome, do as the Romans. I get that philosophy, but Rome was way, way more complex than America. Rome was diverse. So was, Greece and lots of Europe. And I think they forget sometimes a lot of the common behaviors and customs that came from Europe after the Moors had lived in Europe and showed them how to do all kinds of things concerning math, science, architecture, hygiene, etc. So a lot of the customs that they celebrate now and think is unique to certain demographics was actually passed down through the people they would end up persecuting. I was saying this to my buddy the other day. I was like, Columbus didn't show up in the New World until after 1490, when I think the Moors were kicked out by European people from the Iberian Peninsula, Spain, Portugal, etc. And then all of a sudden they started showing up in the New World, and everybody who was brown and black was like, okay, we're going to take your land, we're going to take your gold, we're going to rape your women. And they started a whole long tradition of that, going over 500-600 years till this very day. So, I hope that you guys get to educate your kids, because if you don't educate them, there's people out there who are willing to tell them a fucking stupid story of how great their ancestors were and how you should worship their history. All right, does it sound familiar? It happened, and it goes back to that Crusades as well. So before they end up having you listen to their narrative, you learn your own history, and then you can decide for yourself, versus they tell you what to believe, or they rewrite and whitewash everything to make it more palatable for them. And the very end of it, you're going to have people who are going to disagree with you. They're going to be upset that you don't view history in the same way, or you don't romanticize it for, I don't know what the word is for, just so that they can feel good about themselves. Listen, history got to be history, whether it's beautiful or it's horrible. It's like, we're not gonna sit there and judge what birth looks like when there's a beautiful life that comes out of all that blood and guts and screaming and tears. So I guess for the country we're living in right now, to birth a new life into this country, we got to be able to deal with the painful, strenuous, hard parts that it takes to be, something, to become something, to be, to be in existence. Like, I once, had this thing is like, everything in life is not, doesn't have to be good. It's like when people take medication for depression, and it's like, you're allowed to be depressed, you're allowed to be upset, you're allowed to be sad, whatever, you're allowed to be happy, you're allowed to feel scared, you're allowed to be curious. And when people tell you to ignore something, there's usually a reason they're telling you to ignore something. So if somebody's telling you something is woke, or something is demonic, or something is, it's not good, or just ask the question why, when, what, whatever, to see where they come from, that perspective. Like, if somebody tells you, don't put bleach in your mouth, there's a good reason they're telling you it. You just find out why. Maybe you smell the bleach and you're like, this is good enough for me. And then some people want to know why, and then you find out why. But you don't have to sit there and take the perspectives of the conqueror. You can sit there and ask for the perspective of the person who was conquered, or the people who went extinct. You can see what resources they had to see why these people ended up being conquered or taken over or colonized or whatever. This is what's going on in the world right now. People are fighting for resources. They're fighting for land. They're fighting for their futures, essentially. But the narratives they're pushing is that they are entitled to these things because of something that was written, or something that was promised to them through their belief system. And there's another whole set of people who are like, no, this is not how it happened. And it's like, we are being told that we should just believe what the one side says. So yeah, like, we're at that point right now. In the future, depending on, how this thing turns out, we're gonna have people like me who said, hey, this administration has done a horrible job. People were sick, and there was a time when the whole country was shitting their brains out. And there's gonna be people who are not like me, who are gonna be like, yeah, that was the best shit I ever took. I was shitting for fucking 2 weeks straight. Some people shitted for a whole month. And they'll be like, it was phenomenal. A lot of people lost weight. And also it meant that, hey, They didn't get to go to the elections and the voting, so guess what? We got to keep this idiot in power. Or it could go the other way, and everybody gets well, and maybe it forces people to go and vote and get this out because of the horrible circumstances that it's that we're getting as results. So history is going to be always 2 or 3 different sides of what happened. Like the people outside of America, they're going to have a different version of the history too. The people in Venezuela and in Cuba, who were actively persecuting, they're going to have a different outcome of the history too. So everybody's agendas, everybody's perspective is going to be weighed in the next couple of years, and we're going to see who's right. Maybe right now some people are speaking up and speaking out, whatever, at what's going on, but in the end of it, the only thing we can do is hope that there's some kind of occasion, some kind of activity, some kind of something that happens that means we just disturb the status quo so much. Things it kind of self-regulates. I was saying before to myself, I was like, this universe, it has a way to self-regulate. Sometimes it takes chaos to get back to some kind of normalcy, to get back to something where people have a chance again. Or maybe it's one of those things where you have like a Noah and the Ark situation, and the universe, the gods, the whoever it is exists. They just say, hey, you know what, we're gonna start this shit over. We're gonna open up the earth, we're gonna flood it, we're gonna freeze it, we're gonna bake it, whatever. Maybe a couple small creatures will survive and be the ones to populate later on. And it's happened. Sometimes I do tell you guys, we're living in the Anthropocene. It's possibly the 6th major extinction about to happen. Like, animals are dying, like, but I think like 70% of the species that we knew about, I guess, in our lifetime, recorded history, they're gone. They're like extinct. They're extinct or endangered. And your favorite government doesn't give a fuck, so you might have to say goodbye to alligators and bald eagles again. Things like coffee and bananas are going to go away. So we have a lot of stuff to look forward to if we don't do something. And as I said, things are getting hot. It's only going to get hotter. It's going to become hard. You can't really grow all the crops in dry, hot weather. The fires, the brush fires are going to start. People's properties are going to be destroyed. The ocean level is going to rise because the ice caps are melting everywhere. And that doomsday glacier is coming. The Yellowstone geyser is probably getting irritated. There's been earthquakes all across the Pacific Rim. So you guys should learn some geography. Learn about the natural disasters that might be predicted in the next couple of years, because those might be the things to change the balance of power amongst humans. So anyway, thank you for watching. This has been TheFookeries. My name is Travis. If you want to leave a comment, if you want to send a donation to the money sign, the Travis Faction at Cash App, we appreciate it. Other than that, you guys have a great day. Ask yourself some questions. Take a look at the news. Look at multiple sources if you can. Get registered to vote. Get your passport. Get your gun if you need to. And have a great day.